Emulate the taste of like non-chicken nuggets. So these nuggets are made from chicken, but they're made to emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. Dope.
Oh, that's much better.
Edit all the blather out of your videos because my time is very precious.
Oh, that's fire.
Make it less teal and more
Cerulean? Sure.
Replace your background with something more fun? The cold void of outer space.
Let's boost that sound quality. Emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. Emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. Dope.
It needs more style. It needs more clips, more gifs, more. Well, I might have made it too gnarly.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to How to Create AI Speakers and Use Them in Your Workflow. I'm Christiana. I'm on the community team here at Descript. I'm joined by our host, our guide for the day, Gabe. Gabe is our product release coordinator and knows lots of things. Gabe, how are you?
I'm great, Christiana. How are you?
I'm doing well. I am really excited for today's session because we recently overhauled our AI speaker voice engine, and it's things are different, things are new, and there's lots of things to cover. So I'm excited for today's next hour.
Yeah, me too. Should be a fun event, and you will hear lots of weird samples of my voice in many different contexts, and maybe even Christiana's. We'll see.
Maybe if you guys are lucky. But before we jump into all that fun stuff, I'm going to share our agenda for today so you all can know what to expect here. So this is our agenda. Really briefly, we'll just cover what are AI speakers, what are we going to be talking about. Gabe will give us a quick overview, and then we'll jump into some demo stuff. So how to make AI speakers, how to basically make an AI clone of your voice, how to correct audio mistakes just by typing with Overdub, creating audio from scratch with text-to-speech, fixing impossible audio problems with Regenerate, using one of our 21, right, Gabe? 21 stock speakers.
That's right.
That's right. New and improved. And then, of course, saving time for Q&A at the end. We're streaming to YouTube right now. Use the chat for chatting and asking questions about what we cover. The amazing Marcelo, the manager of our support team, is in the chat today as usual. Say hey to Marcelo and ask away. Marcelo knows everything, just like Gabe. I surround myself with people that know everything. And if you have specific questions, join Marcelo's office hours. They happen every Wednesday. I'll show a card for that in just a little bit. Or you can submit a ticket to talk to our support team. If we freeze, refresh your browser. That normally does the trick. This session is recorded. All of our live events are recorded, and I'll send it out in the follow-up email right after this. But all of our live events live on YouTube. We're streaming to YouTube right now. So right after this, you could watch this a million times. Go crazy. But if you want more help, check out the help center, help.descript.com. We have a bunch of how-tos and guides on all the stuff that we will cover today. And then, of course, join our Discord community. There are 18,000 plus folks in the Descript Discord, which is pretty amazing. Descript and Discord are two close together words. I always want to mix them up. But basically, there's a bunch of Descript users that help each other out in there, ask questions. Our community teams and our support teams hang out in there. So definitely jump in there if you haven't. And then, of course, if you're new here, new to Descript, or you're on a free plan, we want you to be able to try out all of the Descript features that we have to offer. So use code LIVE30 at checkout and you will get a month of free Descript Pro. Don't feel like you have to scramble to write this down because it will be in the follow-up email. And I'll show a QR code for this at the end as well. But that's that. And then just one more time, got to give it up for our buddy Marcelo hosts office hours every Wednesday, 1 p.m. PT, 4 p.m. ET on Discord. Grab that QR code and ask Marcelo anything. Very helpful person. Okay, that was sort of my blather that we have to get through. Oh, why am I?
We're tall again.
There we go. We fixed it.
Mhm.
But yes, that was my blather. I'm seeing folks tuning in from the chat. Thank you so much for being here. So yeah, we can just jump right in. Gabe, maybe to start, what are AI speakers? What is all this stuff?
Yeah, so you've probably, if you've been on the internet anytime in the last 5 years, maybe if you're coming out of being frozen in ice, you might not know, but people have been cloning voices with AI for a little while now. And Descript was in the game pretty early. We've had an old system called Overdub. And in the last 3 or 4 months, we have unleashed our new model for AI voice generation.
Yep.
The new name is AI Speakers, and these are custom voices, stock voices, and really just those two things. But you can record your own voice and clone yourself. If you have a colleague who's just got a really sweet, silky voice, have them clone their voice and they can share it with you. And then we also have a selection of pre-made stock speakers with all types of different inflections and tone. And these are great for text-to-speech, so you can type in a script and you will generate speech that sounds like you or one of these other voices, or speech replacement. So if it's your voice, you can use it for the new overdub, which is when you replace your script track with overdubbed AI speaker voice.
So there's a lot there, lots to unpack. Lots of use cases for this stuff. You might be thinking, I do my content. Why would I ever need a clone of my own voice? I kind of thought that. But I actually use it quite a bit to fix my mistakes or when I just don't feel like talking and need to record something. So we're going to cover all of these things today. So
Yes.
I think we can dive right into the demos, Gabe, if
Let's do it.
if you're ready to kick us off.
Great. I am ready. Whenever we pull the screen share up, I will show you what we're looking at here.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I got you.
There we go. Cool. So I'm on the Descript Drive view. I'm currently on the web. This works on desktop as well. But you will see on the sidebar, there's a section called AI Speakers. That's where we want to start this wonderful journey. Here is where your AI speakers live. I've got a colleague's voice and my own voice here. And in fact, before this session, I went ahead and I just deleted all of the voices I've made in the last 3 months. So we could just start fresh. This is my old overdub voice on the old model. This we used to require 30 minutes, 10 minutes, between 10 and 30 minutes of recorded speech to generate your cloned AI voice. And now your AI speaker can be generated with a very, very small amount of content. So you'll see in just a second here, this is it. This is the entire script. This takes 15 to 30 seconds to read. And the quality that you'll get from this is very good compared to the previous model with 15 minutes of data. So I'm going to allow my microphone so that it will record me, and then I'm going to read this speech. Please don't steal my voice, but you know what? I don't care. Steal my voice, whatever. Have me give polemic speeches and put words in my mouth. It's all good. Cool. I'm going to read it. Let me click the record button. I want Descript to create an artificial version of my voice that I can use to create speech that sounds like me. I am training my voice by reading the following statement. Imagine a big blue ball spinning in space. That's our Earth. On it, there are tall mountains, deep oceans, and huge forests with animals. In cities, people talk, play, and work. We all have different voices. Some people speak softly, while others are loud. Every day, we tell stories, ask questions, and share jokes. 30 seconds flat. Cool. I could re-record it if I felt like, I stumbled and bumbled through it. And I'm going to go ahead and submit, and we're going to just see how quick this is. Not to waste anyone's time here, but we found that this training process can complete within the span of a minute or two.
Yep.
So while this is authorizing, oh, look, it's already done. Didn't even finish my
Didn't even need to
my
vamp.
spiel. Yeah. So from here, one thing to keep in mind is if you are in a creative group and you would like to share the voice, you can absolutely do so from here. No one else in Descript will ever have permission to use your voice unless you do that. So in general, we don't want anyone using a voice that does not belong to them or they have not received permission to use. One, you should just, for ethical reasons, shouldn't do it. But two, we have lots of safeguards in place to prevent it from happening. One corollary, we have talked in the past about voice styles, like if you want different tones.
Right.
And what we found is that the new system is kind of smoothing, but you can still get some stylistic results here and there if you read the script differently.
Awesome.
Cool.
Cool.
All right. So now that I have a voice, we can go into a project. Let's see what I got. Cool. I'm going to use this project here. Cool. And I already generated a script. Just so the folks at home know, I used one of our AI actions and I just had it write from a blank script. If your script is blank, this will have an option to generate a script. And all you have to do is apply a speaker label. You can see I've got this is labeled as a legacy AI voice. So if any of you guys have been around for a while, you may have generated an old AI speaker voice. It'll be marked this way, so you can tell the difference. That's a preview for something for later, but new voices, they'll just have whatever tags you put on them. So these are the speakers that are already labeled in this project. These are my available AI speakers. And then we have this browse AI stock speakers that we'll talk about a little later. Cool. I'm going to go ahead and apply my speaker label. And then this should start generating on its own. You see, if you squint, you can see that the text is flashing back and forth between kind of grayed out and dark blue. That means it's in a generating state. And cool. This is what we call text-to-speech. So this is, I've written into the script or I've had AI generate a script for me, and it is generating my stock speech or my AI speech from that script.
Gabe, I really want to pitch like elevator music or lobby music playing while this happens.
That's a great idea. You know, I've got a kazoo around here somewhere.
Perfect.
I don't think it's on my desk anymore, unfortunately. I'm in a room full of instruments, so like I should have something.
We could just record them all ourselves.
My mom gave this to me for my birthday once.
Oh.
And it's broken.
It's broken. It's the thought that counts, though.
Yeah. Thanks, Mom. Cool. I got an error. Not sure why. Let's take a look.
I could hit you with some questions while it
Yeah,
loads.
Let's do that.
Cool. Can you delete a voice once you've created one?
You absolutely can. Here, let me pop back over to AI speakers. And as I mentioned, I had already deleted a bunch of voices earlier today, but you've got a delete option right here.
Cool.
Just in the menu system.
The 3 dots. Okay, great.
The 3 dots. And we'll pop back in. I saw that I think one of them succeeded as I was leaving. So
awesome.
Go here. Cool. Let's see if did this work? Delve into the archive. Okay, yeah. We have some. Let me know if this is coming through the audio. Yep. I've been watching Shogun, so I made a little thing about the fall of the samurai. In the annals of Japanese history, there comes a tragic tale that marked the end of an era, the fall of the samurai.
a warrior class like no other, revered for their honor, skill in battle, and unwavering loyalty.
Cool. So yeah, that sounds quite a bit like me. It said something weird when it said samurai, which is actually a great segue into something I wanted to talk about a little bit later, which is what you do when pronunciation is a little wonky, because that does happen.
Right.
One thing to keep in mind with any sort of generated text, the context it has to know what style of speaking you're doing is quite limited, and you may have to do some clever editing to get the exact result you want. And in fact, a lot of the time we kind of suggest that folks don't necessarily use really long passages of AI speech, because that tends to be the easier one to detect generally. Just at some point something might it's a computer. It's doing computer stuff.
Totally.
Cool.
But that sounded pretty amazingly like you, if I do say so.
Yeah, and I people don't always know what they sound like, but I'm pretty used to hearing my own voice at this point, and I was like, oh yeah, I could have read that. Cool. All right, let's talk about replacement, because this is probably what a lot of people will want, and one of the best uses of AI speakers, in my opinion.
Cool.
So let's grab.
While you're jumping over there, can I throw a question at you?
Of course you can.
This is from Kelly in the chat. Do you need to be on the paid version of Descript to use AI speakers?
No, you do not.
Cool.
That's all there is to it. You can use it. Like as an ever evolving product, there could be changes to that at some point, but I haven't heard any plans myself. So for now, AI speakers are free to use.
Cool. All right, carry on. That was just
Awesome.
a good question.
Cool. So aside from text to speech, which again, I'll just because I didn't do the I didn't show the writing process for that, I'll just demonstrate here. We have this write mode feature. Enabling that allows you to type directly into the script.
Cool.
And if you have AI voices set up, you can go ahead and just generate just by typing.
Cool.
But the thing I came over here for was to just show, this is some of the recordings we did for me and Christiana for a release video this month. And with this single speaker video, I can take sections. So let's say I didn't like how I said something. So I'm going to play just this little passage.
Normally I don't kill bugs, but if they're trapped in my room and I can't get them out.
Yeah, I feel like I've maybe rushed saying this. And this is true. I don't normally kill bugs. I'm going to go ahead and select Overdub. And this is going to prompt me. So this is one of the safeguards that I mentioned earlier. If I just say blanketly to Descript, please replace this section with AI speech, it'll go, yeah, sure. Which voice? And then when I select a voice, if that voice doesn't match this project, if it doesn't sound like the same person talking, it will get rejected. Because it will listen to the context around it and try and make sure that it's the same person. And that is one of our security features for this. But let me get the speaker labeled. So this will generate. I'm using the keyboard shortcut Shift 2 or Shift at, and then selecting my voice here. And now you can see this is authorizing, it's listening. It can hear that this is the same person.
Right. Cool.
And this, I believe we maybe had a question related to this or the option under it, regenerate, Christiana?
Yeah, somebody asked about the difference between, let's see, where did it go? Someone was asking about the difference between regenerate and AI speakers. Is that the question you're talking about?
Yeah. So I just thought this would be maybe a good time to talk about it because They're very, very similar.
Yes.
Overdub requires you to do everything that I just did and showed you, which is go into the AI speakers menu, record yourself speaking, authorize it, and then you can use it in a project. Regenerate does not require any of that. What Regenerate does is it takes the sample that you're selecting and just makes a new version of that same text with a voice that sounds like yours. So it's not like a permanent speaker. It's just in that section, it's going to regenerate that little bit. So we can hear the difference too. So here is my AI generated one, and we'll play this. Let me play from the beginning.
Normally I don't kill bugs, but if they're trapped in my room and I can't get them out, it's like, your life is over, buddy.
So a couple things that we're going to see here, right? That video was actually made to match the new overdubbed speech. And we'll talk about the limitations to this in a little bit. But if you have a single video track project, like your talking head video or something along those lines, we will actually fill in the video gap and adjust the speed slightly so that the new audio matches.
Cool.
But of course, you can use this in audio only projects if you'd like, and that will always work great because there's no video to fudge. Let's try regenerate, and I'm just going to regenerate the first half of the sentence. And we can, if there's any other questions, we can take those while this is generating.
Yeah, we've got a solid amount of questions here. Cool. Someone brought up how sometimes when using regenerate, you'll get the black screen. Yeah. You and I just talked about this the other day, so maybe in a bit you could cover that.
Yeah, so it's a slightly complicated topic, and I'd like to show how it works and just sort of be upfront about what those limitations are. So we will cover that in just a second.
Awesome.
Let me just show this regenerate slice, and I think as an audience, you might notice here maybe a difference, maybe not, and that'll be interesting what people perceive.
Yep.
Normally I don't kill bugs, but if they're trapped in my room and I can't.
I thought that was pretty rough, honestly. I didn't like that, and we have a feature here that will regenerate your regeneration and try again. And okay. Never mind. We don't have that feature. We totally do. I think I just hit a bug here, ironically, considering what I am saying. Let's try this little section. But yeah, so as this is going one more time, we're going to transition to this right after. I'll show a multi-track file with some text-to-speech or replacement in it. And at the moment, I've kind of generated a workaround for this, but it might be a little bit complicated. So I don't want to overload the crowd too much, but I'll give the general gist of what we're talking about. Okay.
Awesome.
Normally I don't kill bugs, but if they're trapped in my room and I can't get them out, it's like, your life is over, buddy.
I thought that was pretty impressive, honestly. Like
that was a lot better. Yeah.
I could tweak that a little bit, but like, depending on what my use case is, like that might be perfectly fine, you know?
Totally.
Or in the style of video that we're doing, I could have some B-roll over it and, you know, just, it'll sound normal, but you won't see the maybe lip sync issues that might exist. Most people don't pay that strong attention to it. Like if you watch television and movies and you look for it, you will find all sorts of people's mouths moving and the audio not matching. And it's called ADR. It's pretty normal. But usually people just kind of don't notice or they hide it well. So something to keep in mind. Cool. All right, let's take a look at the sequence problem.
Cool.
So here's the double video with both of us. And let's see. Let's take this section here. And this will happen with regenerate or with overdub. And you'll see here, I'm getting a warning about it already. Performing overdub on media containing video sequences will remove any video for the generated range. Do you want to proceed? Now, there's a really specific reason why this is. Because of what we just talked about, if you take a single speaker video and you use overdub replacement, it has to change the speed of that section so that the content, the new content, fits in the original space, which means that your video length may change by a small percentage. And that will mess up the sync of a 2-speaker file. So instead, what we do, and I'm getting the option to try again. That's great. Love that for me. Instead of doing that, we just black out the frames and say, however you'd like to solve this problem yourself, feel free. And in the future, we are working on a way to build. Basically, the issue is, in order to make this work the way that people would expect, we have to build a system that is very smart about how files are synced together. And it's just a huge engineering undertaking, and we're working on it. So that's the answer there. This demonstrates the problem well enough, even though I believe it's complaining that the audio is mismatched, which can sometimes happen if you're, have a cold that day when you're talking or something like that. Or I was, in this case, quite far away from my microphone, so the quality of the voice is a little bit different. But you'll see what the problem is here: black screen at this timestamp. So how would one get around that? My thinking is that probably the best way to do this, if you know you're going to need AI voices in a project, at the early stages of your edit, you can separate these files. So all a sequence is, right? A sequence is a combination of 2 single files. And then we insert it into your project as a track. So it's this file here. You can see it's a sequence because it has these 2 little rectangles. And when I pop it open, it shows me my multi-track session, essentially. And to keep things simple, we just put that track that is actually 2 tracks, in your script. So now your transcripts for the 2 files are merged. What I would do if I desperately needed to use an AI voice on something that was going to be a sequence is I would start by making a composition from the individual files. And then I would do any voice replacement that I need to do. And then I would make my sequence with the other file, assuming it does or does not have AI speech as well. With that new sequence, I can now manually fix the sync. So this is maybe a workflow that might be too complicated for the value, depending on what your use case is. I could think of projects that would absolutely benefit from going through something like that to get around this problem. But just something to keep in mind if you mostly work with multi-file projects. Other than that, on audio projects or single file projects, you're going to have a really, really easy time with text-to-speech and speech replacement.
Cool. Yeah, that is helpful to know, because I remember the first time I hit the black screen, I was like, what? I think I messaged you, Gabe. I was like, help. And you were like, that happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is a good little PSA there. And yeah. Okay. Cool. People are saying thanks too. Glad I wasn't alone in that.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's keep trucking here. What's next?
What is next? We've talked about writing, write a script to record over. Yeah, this is a great one to talk about. So if you are like me, you spend a lot of time in the planning stage. And if you start recording your content too early, you might realize a bit too late that maybe you jumped the gun. So one really useful thing for me is to sample ideas. So let me go, I'm just going to make a new composition so we can be in this blank slate. And what I might start doing here is working on my script, right? on this new script for an idea. I need to know what this might sound like. Cool. And what I will do now is generate some speech from this. And in this example, what we're thinking is I just need to know in general what my idea sounds like before I invest in research or recording or anything like that. But that you will get to a stage afterwards where you have written your whole thing, you're quite happy with it, but then you kind of what do you want to move the script over to your other monitor and read it in a separate window while you're recording? That all sounds like a little bit of a pain to me.
Yep.
So instead, what you can do is take this section here and you can just record over it. And this will keep my script in place, and I can just use this as my script tracker, essentially. And I really like doing things this way. This is a great replacement for that kind of problem that folks will have where their script is on one side and they're looking back and forth from their camera. You can just get your script on the same window that you are looking at. That works really nicely. So just a fun use case I thought people might benefit from.
Cool.
Did we have a question? Because I have it in my outline, but I thought I saw a question related to this, which is like fixing words that are mispronounced.
Yes, we got a question. In your first example, it sounded like samurai was pronounced wrong, and
Yeah,
someone
let's
asked.
listen to that again.
Yeah, cool.
Let's hear it again.
The Fall of the Samurai.
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 Okay. That's an interesting mispronunciation, actually, because it's a fairly common word. This is what I'll do when something is slightly wrong, just to save myself some time. I will try several different versions of it. So I'll try one with a period. I'll try phonetic. Samurai. Let's see what else. What can we try? I'm going to try samurai. That's a little bit more like my Midwestern accent might actually pronounce it. Yeah, so what I will do is just either use punctuation or different types of phonetic spellings. People will find this a lot with acronyms. So if you have, the CDC, like 99% of the time, it's going to say CDC correctly.
Yep.
And then sometimes it'll be like, kaduk. And you're like, what? What's a kaduk? Are you insane, Mr. AI? Cool. Was this Yeah, it's generating now. I should have hit done before that. But this method works pretty well. I for a time had the reputation as the in-house phonetic fixer for
Nice.
AI speech. So I always find it kind of fun to do it. Like
It's a puzzle.
Yeah, it's like, how do I trick a computer into giving me what I want? Because normally you can't. You just tell it what you want and you get it.
Right. Love
fun.
a challenge.
I do too love a challenge. And we'll have these in just a second so we can see if these are better. The other thing I would say maybe first before you even get to having fun like this, just regenerate it. Just regenerate the same passage and see what happens. Because sometimes, this is super true of most AI models, the first pass isn't always the best the AI can do. So it's worth, again, if you're like, this word is stinky, let me try and get rid of it. The other thing to keep in mind too is you can convert these sections to audio. So I'm going to convert this one to audio, and now I can use normal regenerate. I don't have to retype this, but this will work as if it were my actual recorded voice now. Cool. Another thing just is useful. That's great. Love to see that. Another thing that's useful about converting your overdub samples to audio, because they're not normal audio files, they're these special AI speaker files. You can't like put effects on them. They can't be edited in the normal way. So what you want to do, if you need to do more concise editing on it, or more precise editing, I should say, convert it to audio and then do your chops. Cool. And let's see if any of my samurais were any good. I'm going to try this one more time. Failed regeneration. Cool. I think it's because I didn't grab enough. The thing about regenerate too is it's very reliant on context. And if it errors again, then I'm lying, but hopefully not. Cool. I'm just going to play these samples.
Samurai, samurai. As we delve into the
Those all sounded quite French to me, which I really liked.
They had a little something to them.
Let's listen one more time.
samurai.
Like, okay, so it's interesting because I took Japanese classes for a little while, and this is like kind of closer to how a Japanese person would say it.
Pronunciation, yeah.
It's very interesting.
Samurai.
I like the French sounding one a lot, actually.
Yeah, that's good.
That's
I
the
feel like
ding,
the
ding,
last
ding.
one is a little bit more accurate to how you.
Samurai. As we
Yeah,
delve
that's
into
pretty
the
close to how I would say it. And like, again, if we spent another 3-4 minutes on this, I'm sure I would be satisfied with the result, right? It's just
Right.
sometimes a word is just tricky, and you nudge it till it's happy.
We've got a great question
Awesome.
related to this. Let's see here. Joan just asked, what is the impact on captions with the different text spelling? So if you write something wacky in your script to get the pronunciation right, how does that impact captions?
So it would impact it so that it says samurai, right? Except if what I do instead is use the correct tool, which I don't think you can do on Overdub. You have to convert it to audio first. But presumably at this stage, you are quite happy with the result, and you're just working on finishing touches, doing your captions. So I can just go here and I can correct it to samurai, the correct spelling. And again, it would be wonderful if I didn't hit an issue here. Cool, that worked. So this does not change the underlying audio. All it does is change the transcript. So now when I add a caption, it will be correct. We can even show how correct it will be, except I didn't actually use captions. There we go. So there it is, correct in, and I will even demonstrate that it is the same audio.
Samurai.
There you go.
Cool.
So yeah, you can totally get around that. You do have to convert to audio first just so that you can use the correct tool. But once you've corrected it, you're good to go.
Cool.
Awesome.
Okay.
What's next?
I've got a question for you real quick
Okay.
here. And then we can go keep moving.
Yeah.
Someone said you were saying that you shouldn't make written text too long for AI to sound like you. About what is the suggested limit for text?
I don't have one. Honestly, my feeling is if you just generate AI speech with one of our AI voices, and this is, I'll say honestly, this is probably true of every AI voice you can think of. If you just generate it and that's it, that's all you do, and it's over a sentence, 2, 3, 4 sentences, at some point, a listener will detect that it's probably not a real human. And how long it takes them to detect that varies by a high degree depending on who's listening, what the voice is, what the context of the voice is, what is around it, what set dressing is there. I've heard real people speak and gone, is that an AI voice? And it's not, it's a real person speaking. But
Yep.
I've also heard AI speech that I didn't know was AI speech going, okay, this is a normal person. And then like 45 seconds into what they're saying, I go, oh, no, that's AI. And there's just it's imperceptible. It's the uncanny valley effect, I think, that people have. Language is perhaps the most complicated thing in human society by a really long stretch. Like linguistics is incredibly generative from people's, cultures all over the world are generating context and tone and meaning. So getting it so that it fools a person is not necessarily 100% of the time the goal. The goal is, can I use this to patch up something that I have maybe made a mistake while I was recording, or I said my friend Tiffany was Tiff, and she really hates it when I call her Tiff. So I got to swap that out. That is my ideal use case. And then there are other things you can do if you don't care that you can tell that it's an AI voice. I think you can have a ton of fun with it.
Right.
So there's no specific length that I can tell you. It's just, when do you go, that's not real? That's how long it should be.
Yeah. Like there is, I'm sure folks have seen on like TikTok or Instagram, there's like this rise of like the faceless channels, where the voiceover is so clearly AI generated and it does not matter at all. Like you can tell, and it's, some people really dislike that, but you know, you look at those accounts and they can have hundreds of thousands of followers. But somebody brought up that Rebecca said that they'd like to make 28 books. They're 28 books into audiobooks. And so that's a really cool idea. It just, what Gabe is saying, and I agree, is that at a certain point, folks will probably tell that maybe that's not your real voice.
At the very least, that you didn't sit there and record it. You know, you'll get to a grammatical thing that in context needs to be said a certain way, and that's where the editing comes in. Like if you have time to do some fine-tune editing, that might work pretty well, or close enough.
Totally. Rebecca followed up saying, Gabe, does it depend on how much the AI has been trained on? We've uploaded 3 hours of recorded time of my voice.
So that used to be true. It's no longer true, though, as we showed earlier, and I'll just navigate back there so it's fresh for Rebecca. Our new training system is less than 30 seconds of audio. So if I make a new voice, it's literally this one paragraph that you read. The last time I read it, it took me 30 seconds on the dot. I've done it in 15 if I'm going really fast. It is no longer dependent on how much recording you send us.
Yep. Yeah, I saw a few questions about this, like I'm not exactly satisfied with my voice. Can I just add more training data? And the answer is no. What you can do is keep making voices until you're satisfied. But Marcella wrote this in the chat. If it sounds robotic, if something just seems off to you, definitely submit a ticket to our support team so we can look at that and we can give that feedback to our engineering team. And I'll throw the place to submit a ticket in the chat.
Yeah, and just to add on to that briefly, we are aware to an extent that there's this kind of smoothing process that happens. We're biased towards the neutralist version of your voice. And you probably speak much more expressively, especially when you're not reading like a script on a screen. So I might suggest, think about what you want the voice to sound like and maybe try and match that cadence. But there will be a kind of a push-pull going on. Another thing to keep in mind is we're working on additional features that should help with things like cadence and tone over time. So we are aware that of things that people run into and can be frustrating. So again, as Marcelo said, please let us know. Our engineers would love to look at those samples and improve things for you.
100%. Cool. Okay, well, I'm keeping my eye on the clock here. We've got about 15 minutes. Should we jump over to using some stock speakers?
Absolutely, we should do that. That sounds delightful. Cool. Let's pop back into my project. We're going to go back to the Samurai project because an important note for our audience here is that with stock speakers, and these are the voices that we've generated, they only work with text-to-speech. You don't want to do any overdub with them, mostly because we didn't think there were any particularly good use cases for that. But let's take a look. So I'm going to swap out this AI voice. I'm going to go to Browse AI Stock Speakers. Maybe should have mentioned this earlier, but if you're in a project and you don't feel like navigating back out to the menus, you can create your speaker voices right in the project. Just click that button there. Cool. And this is our AI Stock Speaker library. Longtime Descript users may remember a few of these names. They've all been retrained, however, on our newest model. So you should generally see improvements with the old ones. We still have the old ones here, you'll see. But what we've been doing is, working with voice talent to create these voices. We are labeling them now so that you can get an idea of what they might sound like beforehand, such as my buddy Alan. He's conversational, he's adult, he's masculine, like me. We also have some accented voices now. We've got Audrey. She is British, which is going to work great for this because this I told it to generate in the style of David Attenborough. So that'll be fun to experiment with in just a moment. Bernard, he's a narrator. He's older. He's masculine. Carla is kind of a corporate adult female, normal person. You know, this. My best buddies are all corporate adult females.
Oh, that's right.
Tabitha is very inspirational adult feminine. Okay, I'm going to go with Audrey. Audrey, cool. Take it away. Regenerate this, and you'll see just by switching the speaker label, it's starting the generative process. While it's doing this, I might also show just where you can find those legacy voices if you're the kind of person who might like to see those. Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't show you that. Fine.
Maybe not.
I think I can do it without actually switching the voice. So just so you can see where these are under legacy speakers, you can show them, and then you'll see these old versions of the old voices.
Cool.
Cool. And this is a decent amount of content to generate. So anything question-wise we can take a look at while we're awaiting? Yes,
there's some good questions here. Can you adjust the pace of AI voices?
Not at the moment, but the features I was mentioning a minute ago, the sort of in development stuff, is geared towards exactly that, pacing and tone. So
cool. Okay.
If you'd like to adjust the speed, and like you just really need to for any reason, you could make an attempt at using the clip speed on the sidebar. You will have to convert to audio first. So this section is already converted to audio, and I can adjust the clip speed on the sidebar. I would say, just as a content producer, you might find that this isn't perfect. It doesn't sound, there's a kind of a digital stretching that happens when you do speed up or slow down this way, and it may not sound like what you want. So just keep that in mind, but that is the main way to do it at press time. Cool. And I'm just going to play this section here. Again, sometimes you will hit issues if stuff is really close to editing boundaries because of the context it needs to understand what it's looking at. So when I get errors like this, I'll usually just go back and just make sure that the boundaries look good and try again. Usually it works after that. Let me go ahead and play this section.
With a heavy heart, we observe the last stand of the samurai, clinging to their traditions amidst a changing world. The fall of the samurai symbolizes the end of an era, but their spirit and legacy continue to echo through the corridors of time.
I feel like I must have chosen the exact wrong subject for this. It's like the only word it gets wrong is samurai.
Maybe that's how British people say it.
Samurai? That's wild. But again, sounded pretty good to me, and all I would need to do is do one of those regen I did before.
Yep.
That tickled me.
You were like, this is so safe. I love this topic.
And I took Japanese for a few years. Japanese is a hard language for English speakers to learn, but it's not necessarily a hard language to pronounce. All the syllables are very simple. Samurai, it's very straightforward.
Yeah.
So getting it wrong is just funny to me.
Yep.
And in any case, let's do some questions. I think that was basically everything we had to talk about.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, folks, so we've got 10 minutes. Throw your questions in the chat as we go here. I have some stored up as well. But yeah, keep them coming. And if you have to jump early or anything like that, just want to bring this up one more time. If you're watching this and you're like, I want to dive into Descript's full potential here, you can get a free month of Pro on us. Scan that QR code, it'll take you there, or just plug in Live 30 at checkout. Don't feel like you have to rush because this will all be in the follow-up email.
Can I use that code?
You are banned. So no. Just kidding. Maybe. We'll see. Also, Marcelo just let me know. Marcelo, my answer to your question is yes. Folks, pop onto Discord after this for a little impromptu session with Marcelo. If you have more questions after this, you want to talk more AI speaker stuff, jump into Discord and he's going to host a quick 30-minute session on this stuff. So I pinned it in the chat. So you can click that or scan this QR code. But now for 9 minutes, rapid fire questions. Okay. So you hit on this a little bit with tone, but I'm going to bring it up again just in case because I've seen it.
Yeah.
How do we deal with inflections? That is, how does the AI know when to raise volume or change the tone or tenor?
I guess the short version is it's using examples of similar words in similar contexts to make a choice. That choice is also going to be influenced by your recording and how you recorded your AI voice. And then lastly, it will be influenced by punctuation and any other available context. So what I will do if I feel like something's wrong, I actually have a pretty good example of this. How many questions do we have? Because I feel like I could maybe demo this in a way that makes a little bit of sense.
We've got a few questions here.
Okay, let's skip it for now. So I had a video that I used for the changelog to demonstrate one of the new voices. The last line is that it's the AI voice saying my voice is homey sounding. So try me out, homey. Two different meanings of the same word, homey. One is me and my homies. One is I am like being at home. And I needed the second one to sound completely different from the first one so that the joke made sense. And so I went through and I just tried a bunch of different configurations of home and the letter E, home E-I-E with a period. I did one with a Y. I did one where the sentence ended after the word. So there was another word with a period and then I cut that word out. That was the one that ended up working the best. Cool. Because it's such a confusing context, like I can't explain to the AI that these are two different uses of the same phonographic sounds. But I can trick it, and I love to trick computers. In fact, in my outline notes, the last words are "make computers say weird stuff." That's my favorite part of all of this.
Oh, true that.
True that.
It and that's that on that. Okay.
That's that on that.
Excellent. Okay, I'm going to keep going here. Let's see. Will Overdub work without an AI voice recorded? Thinking about the times when we are recording an interview and the interviewee doesn't have an AI voice recorded.
Overdub won't work unless you can get them to record the consent statement. And it's really, really important to us that people give their consent before we clone their voices.
Yep.
The only exception to that is regenerate will, as long as there's voice context. And the reason for that is because we're not changing the words that are being said. The danger with AI voice cloning and the scenario that this person just described is if you were able to do it without their consent and we didn't have a recording of their consent, you can make that person say a lot of stuff. And so we need them to have told us that it's okay for you to do that with their voice.
Yep. Cool. Cool. Okay. Can you use all caps to create an emphasized word?
It's actually a pretty good question. I haven't noticed a huge difference with all caps.
I haven't either.
We can try it. Crowded theater. I don't think it's going to be all that different. I don't think caps really have an influence. I haven't noticed a difference really with exclamation points. It's more about the speaker and the context.
Yep.
We used to have a concept of voice styles where you would record sort of like one sentence versions where you're, I'm angry and this is my angry voice. We're not doing that anymore. You could try and record a voice in that style. You'll see, like, you can, like, what I do is I'll just say, this is Gabe again, but now it's angry Gabe, and try that out. And you will be fine if you see angry Gabe, because I'm not threatening, really. You would like me when I'm angry. I'm basically exactly the same. Cool.
Cool. Did you want to try playing that fire?
No. Yeah, sure. Why would I do that? Here we go.
Fire in a crowded theater.
Yeah, she just said it.
Yep.
And
She
she
was-
shouldn't. Obviously, you're not supposed to do that. So
She was unfazed, clearly.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, and like similar to that, but just to be clear here, would the inclusion of something like an exclamation mark or a question mark have an impact on the voice?
Question marks seem to work.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
I've had good luck with question marks. Exclamation points, hit and miss. I think really just periods and question marks seem to work okay.
Cool.
Commas seem to have a little bit of an effect, but I've also seen them have zero effect. So it's really looking more for the context than it is for the punctuation. But the punctuation tells it when to stop, and then it will tell it if it's a question.
Yep. Cool. Okay, we kind of covered this before, but I want to bring it up.
Let's do
We're
it.
at the end here. So someone makes their voice. It doesn't sound like me. I'm not happy with it. What am I doing wrong, or what do I do to fix it?
Okay, number one, check your recording equipment. Make a recording somewhere outside of Descript, and just make sure that it's free of distortion, crackling, background noise, as quiet as your environment can be, and as non-reflective as it can be. And what I mean by non-reflective is when you clap in your room, does it echo? If it echoes, you should isolate a little bit more. Maybe go stand in your closet.
Yep.
You want a quiet environment with minimal reflections. And if that's all good, next, let our support team know. Get in touch. We will show our engineers, and they will tell us what you can do or what they can do to improve things.
Cool. Awesome. Here's an interesting one. Are y'all working on AI cloning for video, similar to HeyGen?
I'm going to plead ignorance here. I'm not 100% sure. HeyGen, is that like an avatar kind of thing?
Yeah.
Got it. Working on it.
Yep.
That's all we can say.
Yep.
Working on it.
Smile at the camera. Moving on. David asked, I just want to use my voice and run my slides in Descript. How can I achieve this?
Use my voice and run my slides. Is David, do you mean you just want to record over slides, or are you talking about like clone your voice and use it over slides?
I think what David is asking, and I've done this before, is like how exactly I want to do my presentation, but with my AI voice talking, not me.
Yeah. Cool.
So maybe we could show that real quick.
So I'm going to demo this with stock video, but if he's got slides, just import them as image files and then bring them in as layers. So let's say this file right here were one of your slides. You give it a little click, change the setting here to add new layer, and that'll add it in as a layer over your script content. So I just searched for Samurai in our stock library. Oh man, this is gonna look so sweet. 13-year-old me is gonna just be like, oh yeah, Kurosawa, man. But yeah, I'm loading the stock video in, and preparing may take a few minutes, but it's already got sort of the text preview generating for me. Where did you go? There we go. Cool. So here is a section of what that looks like.
As we delve into the archives of time, we witness the turbulent transition of Japan from a feudal society to a modern nation-state.
I will also suggest that our stock library is really perfect for this exact use case.
Yep.
You could also do images, GIFs, audio. You could generate text to image if you'd like. Get some real wild stuff in there.
Yep. Cool. Awesome. Okay, well, we are at time, folks. Thank you so much for spending this past. Oh, why am I big again? There we go. Jeez.
You're the biggest in my heart.
Thank you. I'm like, okay, I'm most important now. Make Gabe small.
Yeah, please.
So, yeah, everyone, thanks so much for joining us for this session. This is recorded, as we mentioned. It'll go out in a follow-up email right now. It probably already hit your inbox. As well, like a bunch of links for the Help Center, our blog, our Discord, so you can stay in touch with us and join our community. Marcelo is doing office hours right now, pop-up office hours, 30 minutes. Jump in there, keep asking questions. David, I see you have a follow-up question. I would recommend jumping in there and talking with Marcelo.
I think I'll pop in too.
And Gabe is going to pop into the pop-up office hours. So it's going to be popping, you could say. Sorry. Anyway. I don't know why we just turned off. Something weird happened. Anyway.
Was it because I was punching the screen?
I don't know what happened. That was bizarre.
I mean, it was good timing. I was like, wait,
it's
are we
just
over?
Bye. An awkward, just like, that was an Irish goodbye end to a live stream.
Yeah. Is Marcelo in here with us?
Marcelo, let's blame it on Marcelo. Anyway, just kidding. That was people saying I have to go. Okay, and so do we. Okay, everyone, have a great day, and see you in Discord. Bye.